Hello. So this one is how to actually break your bad habits. 2 years ago, I decided to change my sleeping habits. I spent the majority of high school and college staying up till 5 in the morning, and then I'd sleep in as late as possible, guzzling coffee into the wee hours of the night, and regularly proclaiming my hatred for the early morning. Well, this wasn't for me. I didn't write that part. That was actually written by the person who did it. I've never really, my sleeping patterns weren't what I wanted to change. It was other things to help promote a healthier lifestyle for myself. So, he was talking about how something had to change. So, he took a leap into becoming a morning person. I figured I'd get up at 5 a.m. Well before anyone in the house would be awake. I would have my energy, time, and peace to start my advancing with my writing goals. This is easier said than done. So, the great news is no matter how deeply our habits are embedded in us, we still have the power to fix them. It's not easy, but it's possible. Change begins with understanding how habits work. What is a habit? How is it formed? What motivates us to stick with unhealthy behaviors? So that's where I go over that. So obviously what we start off with first is how habits work. So in the book that's referenced for this, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg defines a habit as an ingrained pattern of behavior. According to Duhigg, habits have 3 stages: the cue, the routine, the reward. The cue is the thing that triggers the habit in your mind. If you're addicted to caffeine, it could be something as small as simply waking up in the morning or walking to your pot of coffee. Or it's a splitting headache you get when you've missed your daily dose of caffeine. If it's playing video games instead of studying, the cue would be the resistance you feel to actually opening your textbooks and doing homework. The routine is simply the action of the habit, like slamming a Red Bull, powering up your console. And the reward is just that, the reward for your behavior. So then we get into the biology of bad habits. In more long-term, permanent, ingrained habits, there is also the craving. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by something else. I messed up on something, and there we go. It's down. Sorry about that. So, this craving happens after your brain has experienced a powerful reward for the habit, like the caffeine hit from a cup of coffee. Your amygdala flies away the memory of the reward together with the good emotion associated. Once the cue is triggered in your mind, your brain then associates the cue with the happy emotions, and it starts pumping out dopamine in anticipation of the reward it's going to eventually receive. Dopamine acts as a lens, focusing your brain on one thing, the reward, and how to get it. Maybe you walk by the coffee shop and smell the coffee wafting through the door. That acts as the cue. And your brain then begins anticipating that coffee before you even get a hold of it, making you walk into the door and order a drink before you even have time to think about what you're doing. It's also essential to understand every habit has a reward, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So what's a bad habit then? A bad habit is any routine that hinders you from your personal and professional goals rather than helping you toward them. Usually these bad habits have short-term rewards at the expense of your health, happiness, and productivity. The Greeks actually had a term for this self-destructive behavior, akarasia. I think is how you pronounce that. So, how to break a bad habit? There's actually 5 strategies that work. The good news is that thanks to modern psychology and old wisdom, you have a lot of tools at your disposal to combat and replace bad habits. So here are 5. 1. Develop a tangible reason. The first key to breaking a bad habit is to visualize a tangible reason for why you want to break the habit in the first place. So for me with energy drinks, there was a time when I was drinking 4 or 5 energy drinks in one day. it was a bad habit. It gave me the energy to do the things I wanted to do, but it's not good for my body. That would be my tangible reason would be that it's not good for my body, or my heart, having heart problems and stuff like that. So you have to find a reason that works for you. So like another example they give here is if you're trying to stop procrastinating, maybe your grades should, are a big enough motivator. Maybe it's not. 2, replace the routine. The golden rule of habit change. You can't extinguish a bad habit. You can only change it. The next to impossible to truly break a bad habit altogether. Rather, it's easier to replace the bad habit with a different, healthier habit with a similar payoff. For instance, my roommate was trying to cut back on soda intake. She figured out that what she was craving from soda actually wasn't the sugar or caffeine, but simply the taste and sensation of the carbonated drink. So she replaced the soda with a carbonated, like the bubbly water stuff that you can get, apparently, and that seemed to work. Another option they gave is somebody who wanted to get some mental stimulation, but they weren't getting enough out of Netflix and YouTube videos so they switched from Netflix and YouTube to podcast. That's just another example. So both of those examples rely on the third strategy for breaking habits, knowing what you're really craving. So number 3 is figuring out what you're really craving. Is it, like, if you're soda, is it the bubbliness? Is it the, for me, like the energy drinks, they tasted good. But it wasn't that I was trying to get. It was the pick-me-up to be able to keep going. I mean, I still have an energy drink once in a while, but I've cut back from like 4 a day to 1, maybe 2 a week. And then 4 is pre-commit to change, make your life easier. This is how willpower becomes a habit. By choosing a certain behavior ahead of time and then following that routine when an inflection point arrives. Another essential step you need to take when breaking a habit is to remove as much access to the habit as you possibly can. So I stopped keeping soda in the house energy drinks in the house. For a while, I would keep them in the house and be like, oh, I'll only have 1 a week. But then that 1 a week was like, oh, it's there and I want it. Anyway, that's how that worked. 5, embark on a 30-day challenge. If all else fails, you have one big gun at your disposal, a 30-day challenge. You can do just about anything for 30 days. So if you can do it for 30 days, then you can, see how it impacts your life after those 30 days and hopefully keep going. So they have some apps, like, for your phone that you can use for it to keep you going, I guess. So app number 1 is Beeminder. One great way to implement a 30-day challenge is to read Beeminder. It's a goal tracking app with a twist. If you don't reach your goals, the app will take your money. And then there's another app that says, go fucking do it. I'd rather be monitored by a person and want to set up a tangible 30-day challenge. You go to Just Fucking Do It. Here's how it works. You give the app a goal. You pledge some money that you have to pay for if you don't hit the goal, and you type the email to your supervisor, which is a friend that checks up on your progress. The app can ask your supervisor whether or not you met the goal. If they say you did, then it's all good. If they say you didn't, then the app will take your money. So then they have start changing your habits today. There's nothing you can't do. You can't do if it gets the habits right. So, first, we'll recap. Start by figuring out what you want to change. Identify a reward and try to replace your habit with a similar routine. Remove as much access to the habit as possible. If you're still having trouble kicking the habit, try starting with a 30-day accountability challenge. Once you understand how habits work, and know what triggers your own bad habits, you'll be unstoppable. So, thanks for watching.
She sits alone by a lamppost, trying to find a thought that's escaped her mind. She says, "Dad's the one I love the most, but Stipe's not far behind. She never lets me in, only tells me where she's been when she's had too much to drink. I say that I don't care, I just run my hands through her dark hair. Then I pray to God, you gotta help me fly away and just let her cry. If the tears fall down like rain, let her sing. If it eases all her pain, let her go. Let her walk right out on me. And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be. Let her be. This morning I woke up alone, found a note standing by the phone, saying, maybe I'll be back someday. I wanted to look for you, you walked in, I didn't know just what I should do, so I sat back down and had a beer and felt sorry for myself, saying let her cry. If the tears fall down like rain, let her sing. If it eases all her pain, let her go. Let her walk right out on me. And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be. Last night I tried to leave, cried so much I could not believe she was the same girl I fell in love with long ago. She went in the back to get high. I sat down on my couch and cried, yelling, "Oh mama, please help me. Won't you hold my hand and let her cry? If the tears fall down like rain, let her sing. If it eases all her pain, let her go. Let her walk right out on me. And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be. Let her cry. If the tears fall down like rain, let her sing. If it eases all her pain, let her go. Let her walk right out on me. And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be.